Okay, and this video is Algebra 1, Unit 4.4a, Arithmetic Sequences. Now, I don't think it says it on everyone's paper, so make sure if it doesn't that you write this in, please, so you know what notes these are. And you'll want to have today's date over here. The date is over here in the top right. Now, what is an arithmetic sequence? Well, it's really just a whole bunch of, it's just a sequence of numbers where you add the same thing over and over. Let's say you add 3, you add 3, you add 3 over and over. That's an arithmetic sequence. If you add 7, you add 7. That's an arithmetic sequence. So whatever you're adding every time is called the common difference, okay? Can you say common difference?
Common difference.
Very good. So what you're adding is called the common difference, okay? The common difference. And the common difference in this case is positive 5. So we'll write C or CD or D for the common difference depending on how we're feeling that day. So it's just a whole bunch of numbers. We start with a number and we add a whole bunch. So let's just write our own arithmetic sequence just for fun, okay? I'll start with -3 and then I'll go to 2. Now let's go to, instead of going to 2, why don't we go to 4? And then after that, where would I go? So how much did I go up by?
7.
I went up by 7, so I need to go up by 7 again. So I'm going to be at 11, then I'm going to be at 18, and that's an arithmetic sequence with a common difference of 7. Good. Now there's another thing that we're going to want to talk about, the first term of the arithmetic sequence. Are you guys familiar with... Okay, now the first term in an arithmetic sequence, we're going to refer to as A1, okay? A1. So it's like A for arithmetic, right? And then 1 for the first term, okay? Now if A1 is the first term is A1, what do you think the fifth term is? A5, that's the fifth term. And the 11th term is A11. So that's what we want to just realize, that's notation. Arithmetic sequence, term 1. Okay, so as you can see, we have some A1 steak sauce here so that you'll remember that A1 is the first term. What is the A1? Okay, what is the steak sauce of this arithmetic sequence? A1. Yes. 5, yes, just 5. A1 is 5. What's the first of this arithmetic sequence? The A1, yes. -3, so that's the first term. And then we just add on the same thing over and over. So let's go through a problem. Write the next 3 terms of the arithmetic sequence. It's not that hard. Just see what it's going up by. Okay, so what's the common difference? How did this become this, and this become this, and this become this? What did we add by? We added 12, right? So if we're adding 12 each time, I want you to add 12 3 more times. So think about what the next 3 terms are. Write them down if you know them, and then I will write them down. And we know that the next 3 terms are 36, right? You have that, right? Yep. 48, you also had that one, good job. And 60, okay? So those are the next 3 terms of the arithmetic sequence. So look at the next one and try to figure out the next 3 terms of the arithmetic sequences. This is your now, you, try. Pause the video and give that problem a shot. All right, so hopefully that was no big deal for you, piece of cake. And now when we look at number 3, I think that this one could throw some people. I don't know, but sometimes people are a little bit messed up by this one because it's going with a fraction. So what I want to talk about on this one is what is it going down or up by? It looks like it's going down a quarter, like we lost a quarter. And we lost a quarter because 3/4 minus a quarter is a half. This is kind of important to be able to do for like, if you're ever trying to like build or measure things, adding and subtracting quarters from like, 5 1/8 or 3 1/2 or 7 3/4 of an inch, you need to be able to do this kind of thing. So we know we're going down by a quarter, so we're going to be 3, 2 3/4, and 2 1/2. Or 2 2/4, whatever you want to do. You can do a common denominator if you like. So hopefully this is going good. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So moving on, let's talk about writing an equation. Let's make it like actually a little bit tricky, okay? Because as you know, a lot of things start out pretty easy, okay? Actually, I'm going to just pause here for a moment. All right, so I just did a little exercise with my class, so if you're watching this at home, I'm sorry. If you're watching it in class, I want to show you something where we just put our thumb out, and then we put our pinky out, and then we mess around with it. So this is my cue to tell you about that if you're not watching this at home. If you're watching this at home, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Disregard what I'm saying completely right now, okay? Now here's the deal, okay? We want to find A50, not A1, we want to find A50. So I need to go 50 terms out, literally 50 terms. That is pretty far. Do you seriously want to write out 50 numbers? We got 14, then we got 11, then we got 8, then we got 5. You want to keep going for 50 numbers and just continue the sequence out? No. Absolutely not. You do not want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to figure out, hey, what is the difference that's going on here that I'm adding or subtracting each time? So what am I adding by here or subtracting by? What's the deal? I'm subtracting by 3. So my CD, okay, my common difference, okay, not CP, but CD is -3. Now, if I was to go like this, 14, 11, like right, and we know that this is going to be 2, agree? How many numbers are here? If we look at the green circles, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, agree? Yeah. How many spaces are there between the 5 numbers?
12.
How many spaces are there? No, just spaces like individually, green. The red spaces, sorry, the red spaces. How many times did I add 3, or -3? I subtracted 3 4 times. If I have 5 numbers, okay, hold up your hand, everybody. How many spaces are there between your finger? Count them up.
1.
We got between our thumb here, 2, 3, in between our middle and our ring finger, and then in between our pinky and our ring, we have another space, yes? We have 5 fingers, but we have 4 little webs between our 5 fingers. Agree? So how many times am I going to have to be adding? How many times am I going to have to be adding -3 if I have 50 numbers? How many spaces are there going to be? 49. Agree? 49 spaces. So I need to take A1. I got to take my beginner, A1, my first term, and I got to add -3. I got to add -3. How many times do I got to add it? 49 times. What was my first term, though?
14.
It was 14. So I got to add 14. I've got to add -3. I've got to add -3 49 times. So I'm just going to multiply because multiplication is repeated addition, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to take this and just do it out. That's going to tell me that term. So now I'm going to take -3 times 49, which is -147. And I'm going to salvage that one. We're going to add the 14 to it. So if I do that, I think I've got -133. Is that correct?
Yep.
That is your 50th term. Term number 50, A50, is -133. Okay? That's a formula that you can use to get there. Remember, if you hold up your 5 fingers on your hand, including your thumb, that is, you'll notice there are 4 spaces between those 5 fingers, right? And if you look and you have, if you look at the wall of the classroom, you might see that there are a whole bunch of bricks. And if there are 5 bricks, there are 4 spaces between those 5 bricks. And if there are 20 bricks, there are 19 spaces between those bricks, okay? So remember, you're going to take 1 from the term number that we're looking at. So let's kind of keep going. Maybe we can get into a now you try. I feel like we're doing good. So let's check it out. We're at number 3. Write an equation for the nth term of the arithmetic sequence. Then find A25. So here's the deal, okay? First of all, make sure that you're not confused by this. This is the beginning of the question, right? You know what I'm saying? So we got 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's identify 3 things, okay? There's basically 3 things we want. We want to know A1, obviously. We want to know the common difference, so I'll just say CD. And we also want to know the number that we're dealing with, the number that we're trying to get to for our terms. So what is A1 in this sequence? 4. So A1 is simply 4. Our first term is 4. Now what is CD, our common difference? It's positive 1 because we're adding 1 each time. So that's good. And now finally, what is the number we want to get to in the end? 25. So we circle that and we realize that that's 25. Now here's the deal, okay? Here is a major formula for the thing. So this is where it gets a little weird. It's going to look a little funny, but it's really going to be fine. If I want to find a term, a number of a term, I'm just going to put an. Whatever number I put, n is for number, okay? If I want to find the 25th term, don't put n, put 25, okay? If I want to find the 80th term, don't put n, put 80. So the term n is always going to be found by taking what? What's your starting point of your sequence? It's your A1, correct? So your A1 in this case is 4, and then you're going to add the common difference. So now you're adding the common difference, right? And the common difference is 1. And how many times are you going to add the common difference? 24 times. And I can also say the following. This is the weird part, okay? Whatever number I'm asking you to do, what are you always going to do with that number?
Take one off.
You're always going to take one off. Whatever the number is, take one off. That's the perfect formula to get there, okay? Now, a lot of you are going to subtract the number 1, the number 1 in your head once, yes, and just go for it. But when I say I need a formula, you need to put n minus 1 in there. In your head, you know just the minus 1, and that's what goes in the purple bubble thing there. But in the formula, you need to make sure you write it. So here's the deal. If we put 25 in here, so we replace this with 25, right? We know that that's going to come out to 24. That's going to be multiplied by the 1, and that's going to be added to the 4. And this will give us a, what's the term that we're trying to find? A what? A25. Okay, not A1, but A25. Term 25. And what is term 25? It is 28. A25 is 28. Now you can go ahead and figure that out your own way, or you can use the formula. Okay? Now one more time I'm going to show you one more example before I have you do it now you try. You're definitely going to be doing now you try on 9 and 10 yourself. So just be aware that this is a now you try, and so is this. It's also a now you try. So you can pause and try that now if you want, or you can hold up, just hold up, wait a minute, okay, and see one more example that I think you might like. Okay, so your last example before I have you try those last two, I just want you to look at this arithmetic sequence for a moment, okay? Check it out. Now, I want you to find A9. So if I was to have you find A9, which is this guy, right, A9, yeah, you could definitely just write it all out, correct? But I don't want you to do that. I want you to think about what's happening here. We're adding 3, right? And how many times are we doing the add 3? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times we're adding 3. Agree? So I'm going to put plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. I'm getting a little bit lazy. Plus 3. How many plus 3s are up there now? Should be 8, right? So my common difference is positive 3. My first term is clearly 2. And I'm adding 3 how many times? 8 times. So what I can realize is that it's going to be my sequence A9 is going to equal the original number plus 3. How many times am I adding 3? Well, I'm adding 3 8 times. 9 minus 1 is 8. And we'll notice that this is 24, 25. I think the answer should be 26, according to this formula, right? 24 plus 2. Now check it out. Let's say you did this. You got 17, you got 20, you got 23, and you got 26. Isn't this pretty fancy, right? 26 and 26, either way you do it, you got 26. Remember, if there are 9 numbers, there are 8 spaces. That's why you use n minus 1. So try your best on 9 and 10. I hope those will go smooth. And I want you to give this a shot as well. This is the last thing you're going to try. At least 4a, maybe 4c. try those. So pause the video. You've got a little bit of work to do. Hopefully that's okay, and I will talk with you soon. Also, just so you know, I want to make sure that you're trying to find, on 9 and 10, you're still trying to write the formula. Do not forget to write the formula, which is this deal, okay? Try to write the formula, please, with the n-1, and then try to find A25. So each time you're trying to find A25 on numbers 9 and numbers 10, okay? And do what you can on 4. I want you to get through it. Hopefully it goes well. I will see you in the next video. Peace.